Rise and shine, it's a brand new day with Mona News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it. My dear friends, from politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled, from morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
Good morning, everyone. It is the 15th of July, which means I have 2 more days until I'm officially the big 4-0. Don't expect any maturity to happen, in 2 days. I doubt it. I think I've skipped it for this year. So don't expect any maturity level increase regardless of, chronological age. Good morning, Wolfram. Thank you for doing all of the mod things. Good morning, Squid Pro Quo and Aaron Olivia and everyone. So we have all of the Monday news, and y'all, the trifecta of Hollywood passing aways, it stands. It stands. I have the Hollywood deaths always come in 3. I'm just saying this is a hard and fast rule. And we also lost Shannon Doherty this weekend. So between, again, Richard Simmons, Dr. Ruth, and Sharon Doherty, I mean, again, Kevin Spacey still wanders this this world free. I think he has I think he might have made a deal with the Grim Reaper. That's just me. Good morning, Karen. So our first story is rather sad. Again, we don't generally go political on this channel, but the gentleman who lost his life at the rally, more has come out about him. And you guys know me, I always like to put everyday heroes up. And regardless of how you feel about his political affiliation, he gave his life for, his family members and his kiddos. So former fire chief who died at Trump rally used his body to shield family from, the shots fired. And let's see, I believe there is a picture of him, not in this particular story, but let me see if I can get a picture pulled up of this gentleman after the story. The former fire chief who was killed at the Pennsylvania rally for Donald Trump spent his final moments diving down in front of his family, protecting them from gunfire that rang out Saturday during, all of the freaking, shenanigans against the former presidents. Corey Compratore's quick decision to use his body as a shield against bullets flying toward his wife and daughter rang true to his closest friends and neighbors who love and respected the proud 50-year-old man, noting that Butler County resident was a man of conviction. He's literally a hero. He shoved his family out of the way. He laid down his life for them, said Mike Morehouse, who lived next to Compratore for the last 8 years. He's a hero, and I'm happy to say I was his neighbor. Compratore died Saturday we all saw it. Unfortunately for Baker, it happened during his, thank you for being subscribers thing. But what an absolute hero. I mean, again, I know we are a deeply divided nation, but for me, regardless of political stance, he laid his life down for his family, for his wife, for his daughter, for other people around him, and that is heroic to me. So I am I do know that I believe President Trump has shared out his GoFundMe. I thought that there was a GoFundMe link here. Oh, here we are. So I will again, and it looks like they have raised nearly $900,000. I mean, again, I can only imagine, the pain of losing my spouse in front of me and knowing that he gave up his life. But, I am just, as much as we talk about how divided we are, this gentleman's family is going to be at least monetarily taken care of. And what a cool country that we live in, that people would willingly give money to someone they don't know. Maybe they generally don't like politics anyway, but because of his heroic act, his family at least won't have to worry about losing their home. So, I won't get terribly political, but, I am absolutely just in awe of someone who is that situationally aware and then goes up and, gives his life for his family. Dr. Ruth. Dr. Ruth, our favorite grandma talking about uncomfortable things, has passed away. Oh, and that's awesome. And thank you, Chris, for keeping us all appraised of what junk food day it is. I'm trying to be better with no junk food, but I may or may not have had, the fluffy funeral for all junk food this weekend. So my body is now telling me like, "Hey, dingus, you are no longer 13 and that much sugar, you're not the expert. You cannot handle pixie sticks." Dr. Ruth Westheimer, America's most famous sex therapist, is dead at 96. Well, I mean, I guess she was able to. I will say she was always the sweetest, cutest lady. Uh, she did talk about uncomfortable things that I never wanted my mom to be in the room when Dr. Ruth was there. But Dr. Ruth, the superstar sex therapist known to millions as Dr. Ruth, uh, no last name, has passed away at 96. She passed away Friday in her home in Manhattan. Her publicist, Pierre Lehoux, confirmed no cause of death was announced. For more than 4 decades, the beloved doctor dished advice on, all of the smexy time things to destigmatize the smex for generations of Americans. Well into her 90s, the beloved therapist was still touting the benefits of, well, waking up with the one you love. Uh, Understand this country of ours is more active than before, she told the Post Cindy Adams in 2021. Smexy time is no sin. Last year, Westheimer was appointed to the New York State's honorary ambassador to loneliness, I guess, committee by Governor Kathy Hochul. Dr. Ruth led an extraordinary life. Governor Hochul said immediately after sucking the life out of a gelfling, "Y'all, regardless of your political take, the woman looks like a Skeksis. Like, she doesn't even need a puppet. She was definitely not a mystic, okay?" Governor Hochul confirmed in Moe's headcanon as a total legitimate Skeksis. I don't make the rules. I just report on them. Thank you for being a member for 5 months, John. As New York's first ever ambassador to loneliness, we'll work together to spotlight a mental health crisis impacting our seniors, she said, and we will miss her greatly. Uh, Westheimer was born in Germany in 1928 and survived the Holocaust, relocating to the United States in 1956. She spent decades working in academia before becoming a public, figure in the 1980s with a segment called Sexually Speaking on New York's WYNY radio network. The pint-sized star, who was already, in her 50s, quickly became famed for her frank and often funny advice involving intimacy. Once asked how to perform, maybe a mouth hug for a man. She memorably responded, "Make believe it's an ice cream cone." Doctor's tips were always delivered with cheer and her cheeky catchphrase, "Get some," and she became a favorite among listeners. Additionally, she promoted the uses of contraception and educated fans on the risk and dangers of STDs. Amid her radio success, Westheimer turned to television, hosting The Dr. Ruth Show, which began in 1983. In ensuing decades, she hosted a slew of other TV programs and penned more than 45 books, dozens of which were bestsellers. She is survived by her two children and four grandchildren. Oh, she even hugged Regis. I mean, and she's so excited to hug Regis. Regis is like, "I don't know who you are." And she's like, "I love you, Regis." Born Carola Ruth Siegel, Westheimer's early life in Germany was as an only child of two middle class Jewish citizens. At the age of 10, she witnessed her father's taken away by, the bad guys in WW2 to Dachau. Her terrified mother subsequently sent her to Switzerland on the Kinder Transport, a rescue train transporting Jewish children out of the country. Both of her parents perished during the Holocaust, and the you know, young Dr. Ruth spent years in a Swiss orphanage. She immigrated to British controlled Mandatory Palestine, or now Israel, at the end of World War II. She joined the Haganah, Jewish Zionist paramilitary organization, later known as the Israeli Defense Force, and on her 20th birthday, she was seriously wounded by an exploding shell during a mortar attack on Jerusalem. Thank you, John, for the super chat. And yes, if you're just listening, she gave him a completely consensual, real, just nice hug, but she is squeezing the ever living daylights out of Regis. She is so way excited, and Regis is like, I look. Dr. Ruth decides to give you a hug. You take the hug from Dr. Ruth, Regis. But what an absolute badass. This lady took, lost her parents. She could have, curled up. A lot of us, we have these terrible things that happen in our life. And Dr. Ruth was like, heck no. Now I'm going to become, I'm going to join the Defense League. Got injured in a shelling. And then she was like, I'm going to move to Paris and study psychology. At the age of 28, she immigrated to New York City, where she obtained a master's degree at New York School, working as a maid to pay tuition. She later earned a doctorate from Columbia University. After years as a teacher and private practice sex therapist, she began her media career at the age of 51. Her age proved an advantage with her conservative appearance, a contrast to the often racy advice she doled out to her fans. Aw, Dr. Ruth was just super cute. I don't care who you are. And everyone's grandma has that sparkly, okay, if you're me, grandmas have those sparkly celebration shirts. So you've got one for 4th of July, you got one for Christmas, you got one for Thanksgiving. And if you don't have one of those on, is it really 4th of July? In addition to her radio show, she hosted several TV programs on Lifetime, including Good Sex with Dr. Ruth. She ended the show urging her viewers to have all the good stuff. You know, she just she lived her life. She believed in what she believed in, and she fought hard for it. And doggone it, if you live a full and happy life where you get to hug people all the time, then it looks like she overcame so much. And I'm happy that she was able to give her advice to many of us. I'm hoping my parents never followed that, but that's something else. Thank you, Jude, for being a member for 7 months. You can tell it's a Monday, y'all. You can tell it's a Monday. Sadly, we also lost, in addition to Dr. Ruth and Richard Simmons, we lost Shannon Doherty. Shannon had been, thank you, Jason J, for being a member for 4 months and, joining the Church of Mo for 4 months. Sadly, Shannon Doherty also lost her battle to, cancer. Cancer sucks. Shannon Doherty spoke fondly of her mother Rosa just months before the Beverly Hills 90210 star's death at the age of 53 on Saturday. In November 2023, the Charm alumni revealed that her beloved mom, who was diagnosed with a brain aneurysm when Doherty was 8, taught her to be tenacious in life. I come from a woman who was determined, Doherty told People at the time. She impressed upon me at a very young child, like, don't give up. You just have to work hard at it. Thank you for being a member for 3 months, JKD Buck, and yeah, rest in peace, Shannon Doherty. I mean, I can tell y'all I may be dating myself a little bit, but Charmed was better with Shannon there. Charmed after Shannon, not so good. I mean, I know it's sacrilegious, but nope, just not the same. I think I was always a fighter. I was raised that way, to be very strong and think I could do anything I put my mind to. Following her breast cancer diagnosis, Doherty told the outlet that she turned to her family for support. I don't think that there is a decision that I made that I don't take my mom into consideration, she said. I love her and I'm so incredibly grateful for her being an amazing mother. I take my brother into consideration and his children, my dogs, my animal. Also, Doherty made her love for her mother Rosa known on social media. The late actress posted several images with her mother on the platform over the years and marked that Rosa's 76th birthday uh, was in December. In April, the actress revealed on her Let's Be Clear podcast that her mother was a priority as she battled cancer. And, these are the things that I think you never think as a mom you want your kid to have to deal with something like this. And when it happens, you hope you've given them the tools when life kicks you, and boy, is it gonna kick you, that you've given them the support, the safety nest, and the, strength inside themselves to not only lean on others, but, really be a warrior for themselves. So good job, Shannon Doherty's mom. I mean, because absolutely, when things like this happen, you have 2 choices. You can curl up or you can keep fighting. And because of Shannon Doherty's mom's, you know, example, because of her never saying no, Shannon found the ability to, fight for so many years with this long, long battle. Because it's going to be so hard on her, I want other things to be a lot easier, Doherty said at the time. I don't want her to have a bunch of stuff to deal with. I don't want her to have 4 storage units filled with furniture. The Heathers actress died on July 13th at the age of 53 after a long battle with cancer. It is with a heavy heart that I confirm the passing of actress Shannon Doherty. On Saturday, July 13th, she lost her long battle with cancer after many years of fighting the disease, her longtime publicist, Leslie Sloan, said in a statement. The devoted daughter, sister, aunt, and friend was surrounded by her loved ones as well as her dog, Bowie. The family asks for their privacy at this time so they can grieve in peace. Following her death, the actress was remembered by family and friends and fans alike, including several of her Beverly Hills 90210 co stars. It is really strange to see all these people that were like slightly more adult than me actually dealing with a lot of things that come with aging now. You've got what uh, Jennifer Garth has MS. I don't know whatever happened to, and y'all will feel me, but this chick was a plant on 90210. This woman was like 173 at the start of 90210. So Definitely, she was, that 40-year-old pretending to be a teenager before that was a big old trope in, the late aughts. Well, early aughts, late 90s. Like, huh, how does this other 40-year-old go to high school too? Anywho, I am glad that she is finally at peace now. It's hard to fight. It's hard to fight every day and know that you're probably going to lose. From my neck of the wood, we have, well, an Indiana man is guilty of luring, then stabbing two police officers. You know, it's Indiana. I can't explain it. A man was charged with stabbing two Indianapolis police officers in 2021 after luring them to a scene has entered a plea according to online court records. Thursday, Deonta Williams, 22, pled guilty to 2 counts of attempted murder in the stabbings of Officer Stephen Elliott and Officer Rain Lane in a Northside neighborhood on December 1st, 2021. He will be sentenced on the 19th. According to court documents, the officers encountered Williams after he called 911 early that morning to report that another individual was harassing him. So this was premeditated to the max. This was a a setup sort of ambush for these two officers. The officers told Williams that they would try to find the person. As they turned away, Williams stabbed one of the officers in the neck and the other in the chest. The injured officers shot Williams, and all three were taken to the hospital in stable condition. During interviews with detectives, Williams said he called 911 that morning and set up a scenario to get police involved at his address, according to a probable cause affidavit. He said that he felt that the city owed him a lot because he received a hefty medical bill he couldn't pay and wanted to take it out on officers. Sir, I'm gonna need you to explain your math to me. How is it the police officer's fault that you got charged a medical bill? I mean, unless the police put you in the hospital. But this is prior. Sir, make it make sense. As part of his agreement with prosecutors, William also pled guilty to possessing a deadly weapon while in custody, a charge he picked up while he was being jailed in the officer's stabbings. According to the affidavit, Williams attempted to stab Marion County Sheriff's deputy with a jail-issued plastic comb sharpened to a point. Sir, you're already in jail. You're just wanting to catch all the cases like Pokemon cards. Okay. The deputy was fortunately, not cut, but bruised and had a very red mark from the 4-inch comb. The state is recommending 30 years. For each of Williams' attempted murder convictions, the court will determine whether he will serve the years at the same time or, consecutively. I'm guessing, this gentleman doesn't seem to have the ability to find, right on a map. So have them concurrently, or not concurrently, consecutively. Keep this man off the street. He just does not seem to be able to choose the right thing. And let's see, things I give no damns about, but Josh Duggar would like his sisters to know that he isn't going to forgive them for not helping him during their his trial. Yeah, don't care. Josh, no one wants to help you with grossness. In fact, I would feel disgusted if any of your sisters were like, it's just kids. I'll help him, hide his grossness. No, Josh, you are not the put upon victim in this. You are, in fact, the gross human that we wish we could send to Mars, but the technology just isn't there yet. I personally am okay with you testing out Mars, Mars technology, not vetted, but I'm not, I'm not the president. Fun dying always with the PSAs out on the road. If you can't get to a restroom while driving, don't wall squat on the back of your car while waving at oncoming traffic while logging off. There you go. You guys, make sure you're in a wooded area. Well, Fundian, you want people to get poison ivy? Because this is how you get poison ivy on the side, on the shoulder of, a Kentucky freeway. Josh Duggar has the rest of his famous family quaking in their boots after the Supreme Court shot down his latest appeal after he faces another 8+ years in a Texas prison on child grossness on the internet charges. Quote, he's blaming everyone except himself for the court's decision, a source says. Meanwhile, he's been wanting to write a tell-all, and now he's got nothing to lose. Okay, y'all, tell me who the hell's gonna buy Josh Duggar's "What If I Had Done It" allegedly sticky finger book? Because I mean, other than for kindling, I can't imagine who the hell's gonna buy this book. They're all truly scared of him and what he's capable of, even behind prison bars. The 36-year-old father of seven's despicable acts, including his grossness with his own sisters, led to the cancellation of the family's TLC show, 19 Kids and Counting, in 2015. His arrest for downloading child grossness in April 2021 led the family's spin-off series Counting On to be canceled. Now he's expected to wreak more havoc on his family from behind bars. Again, sir, sir, not one demented person is going to buy your book. I just can't. Write a tell-all. Most people have thought your family was insane and creepy to begin with. Yeah, it does. After the verdict was announced in Josh's trial, many of his family members reacted to the news that he was found guilty, and some even thanked God for the outcome. Jill, 33, and her husband, Derek Diller, expressed feeling that they have been lied to so much after what we wanted to hear was the evidence for ourselves in court. After seeing all the evidence as it was presented, we believe that the jury reached a just verdict today. Now, Derek Diller did get his, his he went on to become a lawyer and I think does practice now in Arkansas. So I don't know. Call me crazy, but I don't generally think the feds bring these particular kind of cases unless they have all of the evidence. Ginger, age 30, posted that she and her husband, Jeremy Vulu, were, saddened for the victims of the horrific, grossness. And yet, amidst their sadness, there's gratitude because, God is a God of justice who cares for the innocent and the helpless, not your brother. So there you go. Josh Duggar is about to write his struggle book, and I can only see it being dumber than the first his struggle book. Oh, I have that. I have that coming up. How can I be so naive? Well, I'm working on it. Look, to be fair, this is where I struggle, MLS. I mean, look, I get that Alec Baldwin technically because of due process should have been left off, but he's still a douche. And so you have my, my internal struggle of, okay, but if the dude's a douche, does he really need due process? I'm not a perfect person like you, MLS. I have to work on my, bias. Well, in a judge behaving badly, too politically advantageous to be a mere or accident, an ex-Florida judge who was charged with pulling a force multiplier on a neighbor is now disbarred over dishonesty. This face and this beard right next to Lady Justice, he lied? My shock. The Supreme Court of Florida on Thursday formally disbarred a former judge, agreeing with the report that he lied in his campaign finance reports. The ex-judge in question, Miguel Mike Maribal, has a bit of a tangled legal web. He previously appeared in a law and crime article for allegedly pulling a force multiplier on his neighbor. That case, adjudicated under no action in early 2022, has nothing to do with the fact that he can no longer practice law in the Sunshine State. His disbarment originates from his pursuit of an elected judgeship in the Miami-Dade County. He does look. I know he's like shocked Pikachu face. Who knew? Quote, in the end, Maribel exhibited basic fundamental dishonesty with his conduct in this case. I mean, I thought that that was just like prerequisite for being a politician. Call me crazy, though. And we have repeatedly made plain that such a serious flaw cannot be tolerated by a profession that relies on truthfulness of its members, the court said. As a candidate, he was supposed to regularly file campaign finance reports with Miami-Dade County Elections Department. The court says that Mirabel overstated his campaign coffers for political gain. Though he certified each report as correct, the referee found that Mirabel's campaign finance reports were riddled with material errors about his campaign's finances, many of which were likely timed to be politically beneficial to his campaign. The High Court wrote, the most significant reporting errors occurred during the candidate's qualifying period, where just before switching races from Group 18 to Group 43, Mirabel made a series of amendments to his campaign's reports that made it clear to the public and others in the race that he had a much larger campaign account balance. So he was like, no, I did not pad my bra. I simply am always a double D at the end of the night with Kleenex in there. Also, where am I going to put my wallet? I mean, I guess. Well, there you go. For example, on March 8th, 2018, just before switching races from group 18 to group 43, he boosted his purported campaign total to 17,000 or 17 $70,000 when, in other paperwork it was only 40,000. Doggone it. Not to mention, apparently, and I don't think this is legal, but he amended his January 2018 report to remove a personal loan of $10,000 from himself. In deleting the loan amount from the reporting rather than amending it or placing it on another report, the referee found that Mirabel basically recognized that the loan did not actually occur and he had no basis to record it. The Florida Elections Commission fined him $2,000. Well, I hope that that loan that he took from himself of $10,000 was getting interest, because I don't know how you're going to square that circle. Asked in a hearing to explain the high number of errors in his campaign reports, Mirabel said that these were just mistakes and he was filling out forms with which he was unfamiliar. Sir, what you do is you look directly in that daggone camera and you say, I am sorry, I was using Common Core math. How dare you bigots say 2 plus 2 equals 5 or 4? I don't care. It's whatever I say it is. So there you go. Apparently, lying, pulling a force multiplier, all sort of, things you can get away with. But pretending that you have more money in your, campaign finances, well, that's going to get you fired right there. I am sure, possibly one of the signs of the apocalypse, but Gypsy Rose must take a paternity test to prove that her current boyfriend and not her soon-to-be ex-husband is the father of her baby, per Louisiana law. So it might come out that, her ex-husband is on the, birth certificate for a little bit until all of the shenanigans can be dealt with. Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Okay, look, this is a baby food burrito right here. You are 12 weeks along. I'm gonna need you to stop with this, ma'am. Gypsy Rose Blanchard may be dealing with some issues regarding her unborn baby's paternity. While she started or states that her boyfriend Ken Urquhart is the father of the child, Louisiana law makes that a bit more complicated. By Louisiana law, if the mother is married to someone other than the biological father when the child was conceived or has been divorced for less than 300 days at the time of the birth, the ex husband or, you know, whatever level of ex he is, shall be presumed the father unless paternity is established for the biological father. And thank you, Wolfram, for gifting 5 memberships. And those went to King Bob, Toya La Carissa, Spirit Fleck, Jill Sturgis, and Janice or Janine J. So congratulations if you got those. And thank you so much, Wolfram. According to a Louisiana Paternity Establishment Program website, Gypsy 32 had separated from her ex, Ryan Anderson, when the child was conceived, but the former prison inmate did not file for divorce until April 8th. Due to Louisiana law, that means that Ryan, 37, will be listed as the father on the child's birth certificate. In the state of Louisiana, if the mother and father are not married when their child is born, the biological father does not have any legal rights to his child, and his name will not appear on the child's birth certificate unless paternity is established. When Gypsy announced her pregnancy on Tuesday, she stated she was almost in her second trimester. I would like to announce that I'm 11 weeks pregnant. Ken and I are expecting our very first child to come in January of 2025, Gypsy said in her video. We are both very excited. This was not planned at all. It was completely unexpected. Gypsy went on to reveal that she didn't think she would have such an easy time conceiving. Of course, I missed my, period, and I didn't think anything of it because I had seen my OBGYN and tested my fertility. And she's like, we're probably going to have to put you on some fertility meds or at least something to make you, regular because you're not regular. And I think any one of us without a medical degree could have, you know, spotted Gypsy Rose's non-regularity. Fans began quickly doing the math, and many believed there was a possibility that Ryan could be the baby's biological father. A TikToker shared a video of Ken reacting to fans, telling him he was going to go to Maury to determine whether he was the father on Wednesday. Maury, please, please please come back and do this. I need this. I need an after school special. Gypsy Rose, you are the father. You are not the father special. I need it. She left Ryan March 23rd. Alleged now, why these people know that this woman is having cycles and when they have it, good Lord. Ooh. But they knew at the time that, she apparently started her last period, had the fun time with Ken, and then conceived. What is going on, y'all? Not your monkey, not your circuses. Do not get into paternity wars with Gypsy Rose Blanchard, okay? Gypsy opened up about how she felt Ryan would react to the news of her pregnancy. I'm hoping that he's okay emotionally. I wish him the best emotionally. Ma'am, see, you said these kind of words, they were like a vow when you were or when you were in prison, and then you realize that you married someone that looks like the dude form of your mom, and you're like, nah. Uh, but for right now, I haven't had a moment to even stop and think about anyone else except for, am I taking my prenatal vitamins in the morning? Am I drinking enough water? Like I have so much to focus on, making sure that I'm healthy for this baby. All right, family of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, please, please surround this woman. This is exactly, and this is not a dig at her. If she wants to be a mom, then let's help her be the best mom she can be. She's had little to no, life experience. She's had only a crazy mother. So I hope that she is getting support from other people because I have a I feel like I am watching you know, teen mom, because what she's getting is, and it's normal for that new baby, your first baby, even when you're older, to get kind of all lost in the stuff of having a baby, but and I don't think maybe you even understand the commitment that you're making until you have that child. But Lord, somebody please be helping this woman with smart maternal ideas. Somebody have her hand and just help her with some wisdom, because this is, I don't know how this is gonna work out, y'all. I wanna be positive, but I just, ooh, I don't know. Uh, well, apparently someone decided that they were going to try to kidnap a British television personality. This was foiled, the plot was, but someone was apparently going to try to take, you know, discount Vanna White from the BBC. A man has been sentenced to life in prison. Now, I will say, for us Americans, the uh, to get a full life um, sentence, to get a full life, ticket, is very, very rare. So I am shocked that this person actually got a full life term. Uh, Now he does have to do a minimum of 16 years, but for this to even be on the table is somewhat interesting. A man was sentenced to life in prison for plotting to kidnap, unalive, and assault Holly Willoughby, one of Britain's most high profile television personalities. At a sentence hearing in Clemfordshire, no, Chelmsford Crown Court, around 40 miles east of London, Judge Edward Murray told Gavin Plum, 37, that he would have to serve a minimum term of 16 years before he would be eligible for parole. Good morning, Fraud at Wrangler. Plum was found guilty by a jury last week following an 8-day trial. Now, legal proceedings in, Great Britain are not televised, so generally we get the, oil pastel sort of weird pictures that vaguely resemble the people that are on the trial, and then you have media in there, so we might not get play for play of what's going on. Over a number of years, you pursued an unhealthy obsession with Holly Willoughby that led you ultimately to plan that for over a period to kidnap, unalive and assault her, the judge said. You intended to harm her husband and children as a part of your plan. He added that Plum's plans were so horrific, shocking, and graphic in detail that they were not shared in open court, though the jury did hear them. They were, he added, particularly sadistic, brutal, and degrading, and that he had no doubt that the plans were considerably more than a fantasy. So, this does kind of touch on, if you plan something, if you fantasize about it, is that considered premeditation, or is this in a fantasy world? And I think you would have to be able to prove, and I'm sure that, well, the Crown prosecutors did something where they were able to show that this was something that he actually started making actionable steps in order to achieve. Or if you're in, well, I guess, Wisconsin, Indiana, or Nevada, I mean, they just made some stuff up. In some interesting news, the inventor of the Rubik's Cube turned 80, and he looks back on its 50-year history. Well, see, so I'm wondering if they started showing that he was taking actionable steps in order to facilitate this plan going together. My guess is that he might have been on the radar, but he started taking actionable plans. I don't know as much about European law. I barely know anything about American law. So, Now, I will tell you that every kid, I think my age, has had a Rubik's Cube thinking we were gonna be absolute geniuses, and took about 3 minutes to mess that MFer up and have never gotten it back together. 50 years ago, as he sat at his mother's apartment in Budapest, Hungary, a young professor, Ernio Rubik, finally finished a prototype of his magic cube. A teacher at the Department of Interior Design, Rubik was fascinated by geometry, but his attempts to create a solid 3D structure with movable and interchangeable layers had frustrated him. But after months of perseverance, Rubik struck gold. Not that he was thinking about any commercial possibilities. Sir, you just made torture items for anyone who doesn't have an analytical mind. And not thinking about, or I just made it for my own curiosity, he told the Post in a video call. I suppose it's like being an artist. If you're happy with your creation, you want to show people, you want it to be liked. Half a century and 500 million sales later, it's estimated that one in every 7 people on the planet has attempted to solve what became the Rubik's Cube, a puzzle with a mind boggling 43 quintillion permutations. Okay, the ability not to start cursing as soon as you can't figure out how to get the damn stickers all aligned. I don't have an analytical mind, nor do I have patience. A cultural phenomenon, Rubix recently set about counting how many magazine covers his cube had appeared on, but stopped after the tally passed 1,500. It's not just in magazines, from featuring in Simpsons 6 times and being played by the eponymous hero in Pixar's Wall-E in 2008, it's always been on our screens. Justin Bieber even solved it on a late late show with James Corden in 2015. Okay, so wait, now Justin Bieber has solved this thing and it still eludes me. You know, I didn't think I could feel sadder than just realizing I was gonna be 40 in 2 days, but thanks, internet. Way to go. You have made me feel worse about myself. On Saturday, July 13th, Ernio Rubik will be 80 years old. The son of an aerial engineer who designed gliders, planned to pursue an academic career right up until the idea of his magic cube popped into his mind and refused to leave. While Rubik initially used his cube to teach geometry students, it was only when he was granted a patent for his three-dimensional logic toy and local manufacturer made 5,000 units that his invention took off. By 1979, just 2 years after it hit the shelves in Hungary, the Magic Cube had sold 300,000 units, piquing the interest of international toy makers. When American Ideal Toy bought the rights to the Magic Cube in 1980s, renaming it the Rubik's Cube, sales went stratospheric. The international toy fairs were the key to its success, but none bigger than New York's. Rubik visited New York City in early 1980s when he unveiled the cube at the New York Toy Fair, which, God Lord, I hope that the New York Toy Fair still means what it, for children, because Lord knows. It was Rubik's first ever trip to the West and a way to circumnavigate his homeland's strict Soviet controlled export laws. I was always a curious child, so I was familiar with New York from movies and magazines, but being there was totally different, especially coming from behind the Iron Curtain. The smells, the noises, the temperature, it was unlike anything I ever experienced. He visited New York was also the first time that he realized with success inevitably came celebrity, and he didn't like it. Oh, he was like Goaty. He was like, look, I'm someone that you used to know. I wasn't famous. This song just became an earworm, and I want to be left alone. I never understood it, he shrugs. Why do people want to be famous? It's not something I wanted, but I had to tolerate. It was very tiring. I've said it before, the cube loves attention, but I don't. Today, it's estimated that Rubik's Cube has sold 500 million units, but that doesn't include the fakes that flood the market. Since the turn of the century and through the coup, it has taken a new lease on life as speed cubers turn their backs on digital devices. The World Cube Association, for example, hosts regular competitions, including the North American Championship in 2024 at Minneapolis uh, in July 18th through the 21st. So there you go. If you're a true diehard Rubik's Cube fan, it will go to Minneapolis, the convention center, and someone will be able to explain to you how to just take those stickers gently off and glue those bastards back where they go, or fix it themselves. I mean, either way. The event brings together America's best speed cubers, including two-time champion Max Park in December 2021 and 2022. The 22-year-old from Cerritos, California, set a new world record, completing, the cube in just 3.13 seconds. I just no idea. In comparison, when the first ever Rubik's Club World Championship was held in Budapest in June of 1982. The winning time by America's Ming Tai was 22 seconds or 22.95 seconds. Remarkably, Rubik, who told the Post that he can solve the puzzle in just 2 or 3 minutes, thinks that Park's time could come down even further. Look at the athletics and the 100-meter sprint. Just when you think they can't go faster, humans always find a way. It's the same with a cube, it's evolution. Rubix also believes that his cube should be in the Olympic Games. People say the Olympics is about physical activity, but you must remember that yes, the cube is intellectual, but it's also physical because you need very fast hands. Okay, I'm just saying if you can do the Rubik's Cube while running track, I think we can add it in, but I don't think just sitting there. Uh, that's why younger people are good at it. 50 years on, and Rubik's view of what he calls my boy, my son, changes on any given day. Just don't ask Rubik's about money. He's mum on how much of a financial haul the wildly popular cube has earned him since its inception. A spokesperson told the Post that he rarely comments on any of the business related, sides of kind of this invention. It's art, it's science, it's about the relationship between it and people. Every week I find something new, he adds. That's what makes it so interesting, but it's also so difficult to understand. There are occasions when politicians could learn from the cube too. It's the most seemingly unsolvable problems can be solved if you have the intellectual power, he says. You can't give up just because something looks unsolvable. Hey, I tried to say that to my trigonometry teacher when I was a senior. I was like, "Look at all these letters and numbers together. In fact, no one could solve this unless they were, Matt Damon from Good Will Hunting." And my teacher was like, "No, that's a fairly entry level question. It's not unsolvable." I was like, "You don't know my mind. That is unsolvable to me." The secret of its enduring appeal, says Rubik, is that in an era of unprecedented technological change where screens monopolize attention, the cube creates what he calls harmony in the mind, the heart, and the hands. Okay, this man has never heard the amount of cursing that I use when attempting to put things together. The real trick, however, is what it did for children who have, might have been bright but shy or awkward, and who could to the amazement of their peers solve the cube. They became superheroes. I will say I do wish that, when I first saw someone complete it, I was like, "You're magic. You're magic." In our final saddest story, if you're just a mom and pop adult sculptural item manufacturer, Etsy is no longer going to be the place where you can sell your hand whittled female enhancement products. Y'all, I don't know. I saw the headline and you guys knew I was going to end on this. Etsy bans, adult toy sales, and sellers are hot and bothered by it. Quote, "It's a huge crushing disappointment." Also, I didn't know that this was a genre that Etsy had. You would think. I have an Etsy account, you would think I would know these things. Well, generally sex sells, but not on Etsy. The e-commerce platform will no longer allow adult items or accessories to be sold on its website, the company announced in a recent memo that has been met with frustration and anger by its loyal vendors. Dang you, Etsy. Starting July 29th, Etsy will remove all listings that advertise adult toys of all varieties. Anything that depicts acts or any of that kind of thing, and then sexually charged slogans relating to familiar relationships like mommy or daddy. I'm kind of okay with you on that one, Etsy, to be fair. According to Alice Wu, who leads the company's trust and safety team, the policy was amended to, quote, "keep our users safe," per the memo, but vendors have called the solution lazy and crushing disappointment. The ban will essentially close the door on many handmade makers in the adult toy realm. Again, I guess I didn't know that there was a great, desire for Amish built hand whittled toys. Because that's all I'm getting. That is all I'm getting, you guys. Is all I'm imagining is just Amish men hand whittling items, which is terrible. And again, another thing I'm gonna have to tell St. Peter wasn't funny while laughing at the pearly gates. For small shops like ours who have spent the majority of their time on Etsy platform, 30 days notice is simply not enough time to pivot to a new home shop with the same amount of traffic or exposure in in-person sales. Ohio-based Steve Stevenson, who has been selling handmade toys with co-creator Laura Norden since 2018, says that 30 days notice is not enough time to pivot. Yeah, just stick a wick in it, say it's a candle. Bans like this one also further the idea that, sexual health is somehow taboo or something to be ashamed of, Stevenson said. It has broader impacts on society as a whole. I'm going to stop you right there, Rosa Parks of, vibrators. It's Etsy. Now, it's the internet. I'm sure that you can figure a way out to, advertise your adult sculptural items. Alexandra Houston, a co-founder of the UK-based fetish apparel platform Charm School, criticized Etsy for pandering to mass markets instead of remaining loyal to its user. Etsy wants anything creative as long as it's beige and middle of the road. It doesn't want anything risque anymore. Then make your own smexy Etsy. I don't get it. Look, either complain or make your own, adult craft convention. I can't. The Post has reached out to Etsy for comment. Simply Elegant Glass, which has been selling, I'm guessing, glass accoutrement on Etsy, satisfying their 5,000 followers for nearly a decade, penned an open letter to the platform on X, slamming the company for its lazy solution under the guise of community safety. Protecting children from adult content is noble, and we agree it should be pursued, no question whatsoever, but it's not honest framing of what you're doing here, though, is it? The vendor wrote. The blanket ban is a lazy solution to a problem of noncompliance and non-enforcement that you, Etsy, created in the first place. As a solution that targets buyer retention and appeases investors and advertisers, it's a bad solution when framed around safety. The business owners claimed that transitioning to other platforms or meaning or having to reach out to customers will prove difficult since many of the payment processors have prudent or prurient clauses and won't work with vendors who advertise adult toys. Okay, hear me out. Put one of those little dice in there that says yes, no, maybe, and then sell them as Magic 8 balls. As creators who have helped make Etsy what it is, you know, I have been on Etsy for years and I didn't realize that it was in fact created on adult sculptural objects. I might have to go back to Etsy now. According to so there you go. If you are looking to get, your own handmade, personalized, bedazzled adult sculptural item, Etsy is no longer going to be the place that you can get that after, this month. So start planning your alternate, I guess, adult sculptural item procurement. And then I did finish the Lord of the Rings cross stitch. So, you know, I may not have gotten my adult sculptural item Etsy store up in time, but I did finish my Lord of the Rings cross stitch. So really, it's a lot. Guys, I am working on my sister channel where I am going to be documenting my small steps to become a healthier, fitter Mo. I mean, we can all dream. Uh, So I've got some ideas going on with there, and when I've got some things actually set up, I will be putting those up on the YouTubes, on the internets, and everything. So hopefully we will all stay safe. We will all make good choices this week, and we will try to be a little bit healthier every day, or at least, attempts will be good. Anywho, have a great day. I will see you guys tonight for nights with or nightly newsy news with Mo. You can tell it's a Monday, and we will just, stay safe. Keep an eye on things around you. Don't go crazy, but make sure you're keeping yourself safe and just keeping an eye on others and be kind. Goodness knows that we can sprinkle all sorts of kindness out there and make the world a little bit of a better place. So consider doing that. And I will see you guys this evening. Bye, you guys.